What's up, what's up, what's up, your boy Domuto. We are back with another video today. We are watching Beyond Dragon Ball Super. Raijin finds Mechikabura. Demon God Raijin battles Mechikabura's henchmen. Okay. Alright. Shout out to UnrealEntGaming for this video. We about to get into the story. You know what we watching, man. We watching the Dark Master series, man. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and Lego.
As our story now continues back within the demon realm, as the demon god Raijin now sets his sights in having to locate the whereabouts of the former god Mechikabura, as it was only moments after having to initially deal with Frieza, as Raijin now sets his sights in having to track down exactly where Mechikabura is hiding within, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, "Good, for everything is going exactly as I had foreseen for it to be, but while time is a resource that should never be squandered, every second brings me that much closer towards completing my objective, and with Mechikabura being the first whom I will go and pay a visit to in order to lay claim to what is rightfully mine. It would be wise for him to not go and challenge my power," Raijin says, lest he wishes for an early destruction, which I will have no problem in granting him if he refuses to cooperate. And with Frieza now under my thumb and having him join my arms alongside the others in destroying any of the other insects who dare and try to stand within my way, for there was no god before me and there will be no god after that will go and do what I'm about to go and do, not only because they lack the power to go and do so, but because they also lack the ambition in carrying out the unthinkable, Raijin says, and that is why we are not the same, Mechikabura and I, but while I could be wrong in assuming that he will go and try and defy me, the time for action is now, for Mechikabura will either yield before me or he will cease to exist, as there will be no middle ground and no compromise for him to make, but only absolution in the form of my will that will ultimately go on to remain in its place, Raijin continues, and while I doubt that he has the knowledge that I have in knowing of what he has within his possession, and if he were to somehow go and find out or already know of what he has within his possession, Raijin continues, will I only expect for him to go and refuse to hand it over, which is why I am also ready to go and do what is needed if it ultimately means that I will need to go that far so that I could have what belongs to me, and so do not try to fool me otherwise, Mechikabura. But while I expect for our encounter to be one without having you resist me, since I already have an idea that you will try and create pushback in order to go and hold on to what you assume to be yours to keep, if what I am able to sense is to be correct, Raijin says, then you shouldn't be too far away from my current location, of course assuming that the energy signature that I sense is where you were previously shown in having to be. And I actually look forward to this little encounter of ours, Mechikabura. Now surely you haven't went and forgotten about my legend while taking over and being the so-called new god of the underworld while I've been away, for you should already know your place among the pecking order once I am to go and find you, since I was never destroyed, nor did I ever step down in ruling over all of you, but since I now sense more than one life form within this realm that you just so happen to assumingly reside in, Raijin continues, which I also find to be rather interesting since you weren't one to be known in having to work alongside with others before, and so this ought to be exactly where he currently resides, for I will not go and have anything more go and get within my way and preventing me in having what I've been long searching for, Raijin says, and so for your sake it would be wise for you to go and listen to what you are told, otherwise you are going to experience severe consequences.
Oh shit.
Which it was only surprisingly enough moments later, as the demon god Raijin had gone as far as to locate and track down the whereabouts of Mechikabura's realm and having to further stumble across his demon minions known as Gravy, Salsa, and Poutine, was when the demon god Raijin then went on to quickly respond, well, that didn't take very long, as I was right to assume that this was going going to be the exact location of where Mechikabura along with his servants were going to be, and now, well, now that I was able to finally track you all down and having to come face to face with you, Raijin says, it is time that you and I go and have a little word on Mechikabura's whereabouts, shall we? As the demon Poutine went on to then quickly respond, wait a minute, and just what in the world is that? That energy and those eyes. Who are you and how are you able to go and track down Lord Mechikabura's domain and infiltrate it so suddenly without us having to be aware of you like this? Well, so I see that Mechikabura has failed to inform you younglings on the true nature of the pecking order in which precedes you all, but allow for me to go and introduce myself to you all then, for I am Lord Raijin, the first and original god of the demon realm, which stems long before Mechikabura's reign, Raijin says, for I can see that your devotion towards Mechikabura may go and grant you a semblance of purpose here, but it will not shield you from my wrath if you decide to go and stand within my way, Raijin says, for I am not here for pleasantries, nor am I here to entertain your trivial loyalties, and so I will go on and ask you one time and one time only, where is the demon god Mechikabura right now, as I am here to collect something that he of course has possession of, so now you will go on and tell me if he's here, for I know that he is more than likely inside of this palace of his, as I have no patience for games and zero tolerance for deceit, as I will not be misled, nor will I be delayed any further, Raijin continues, for every wasted moment is but a slight against my will, and so you will go and confirm his location with me now, or I will be forced to go and extract it from your lips myself, with the demon known as Gravy having to then quickly respond, the first and original god of the demon realm, but we were never told anything about you by Lord Mechikabura before, and so what exactly is it that you seek to go and want to collect from him, as this will be as far as you will go, for we will not go and allow for you to go and cross over into Lord Mechikabura's domain, unless you are hereby go and given access to go and do so, do you understand? With the demon known as Salsa being shown having to then respond, that's right, and while you may claim for yourself to be of demon origin, we do not serve directly under you, as we are only loyal to Lord Mechikabura and only Lord Mechikabura. And so yes, while he is here within the moment, you are to not go and cross over and pass by to go and speak with him unless you are told to do so. Oh, is that so? Raijin questions. What a shame, but very well then, because if I will need to go and crush the three of you in order to go and make my way inside, then so be it, as I had given you all a warning prior, and so I will hereby go and do what needs to be done in order for me to go and fulfill my mission, with Gravy responding, what did he just go and say? How dare you go and speak to us with such a disrespectful tone? For who does this creature think he is by going as far as to talk to us like this? With Poutine responding, there is something very unsettling about that energy of his that I am sensing, for we mustn't go and take his bait, as I do fear that there is something more to this creature than what we are able to go and see on the surface. With Raijin responding, do not go and make the mistake of assuming that I will not go and do what it is that I need to in order to get on what it is that I am after, whether you are of demon descent or not. For I see through your hesitation, and if any of you truly want to try and test my resolve in assuming that I am simply bluffing, then I hereby welcome for either one of you to go and test your luck here against me, and I will go and prove to you on what exactly it was that I had meant by what I said, demons. But this, however, did not go over well with the other demons, in fact, because with Salsa being shown having to be the first among the three and making her way right towards Raijin was when Poutine went on to then quickly shout, wait, Salsa, don't attack him, for we don't exactly know as to what we are going up against here and having to go and face him.
Oh shit, they going at it.
Foolish little worm, for you should have listened to your friends and stood where you were instead of having to seal your fate with me like this, Raijin says, as I can only go as far as to assure you that it most certainly won't end well for you either, with Salsa being shown having to then respond, oh yeah, well you don't scare me one bit, for you will come to respect this realm as you are in Mechikabura's domain now, imposter, as no one, and I mean no one, will ever dare to go and cross over into such a realm and disrespect Lord Mechikabura's name and live to go and talk talk about it, and so now burn! Burn beneath the weight of your arrogance and feel the wrath of Lord Mechikabura through the fires that dwell below, Salza shouts. And so now burn for your heresy and professing yourself as being above Mechikabura, as you will pay with your life beneath the weight of the fire that consumes you. But then, it was just upon with Raijin being shown having to reach on out through the fires in attempts of having to grab Salza by the neck was when Raijin went on to then quickly respond, "Enough of this, you traitorous little vermin, for you will need to go and do far better than this if you hope to go and stand a chance against me. And as if attempting to go and burn me alive will go and do you any good, especially when the laws of fire along with its nature are within my specialty," Raijin says. "But tell me something, how long do you think that you can last out here against me before I go and decide to break your neck within the process of our battle? For I believe that it wouldn't be any longer than 30 seconds, to which as both Poutine and Gravy were then shown having to make their way in was when Poutine then went on to quickly shout, "Oh, quickly, Gravy, we have no other choice than to go and join in so that we can ensure that nothing goes and happens to Salza within this battle," as Gravy went on to then quickly shout, "Oh, hurry then, let's move around him so that we can catch him from each corner," with Poutine responding, "Yes, then we will go and do just that, as we'll need to go and use as much force as we can dish out against him, and so on my signal we'll hurry and go and strike him at the same time and smash this beast with everything that we are made of before he can." But then, it was only just then within that very moment as Raijin was shown having to swing Salsa's body around and having to use her as a means of being a weapon and having to smash her directly into Gravy was when Raijin then went on to quickly continue, "Foolish younglings, for despite with the three of you and having to hold the numbers advantage over me, just because you may outnumber me doesn't mean that you will win. And while I find your rebellion,
I don't know why they even try Raijin like this, bruh.
Shameful one in having to go and throw your lives away for the sole purpose in having to defend your governing ruler Mechikabura, let this now go and serve as being a reminder to you all that once you go and decide to actively go and turn your backs against me, will it only be a decision that you will go and pay with your lives for, as there is no such thing as redemption towards those who go and defy my throne." To which it was only from out of nowhere with Raijin now being shown having to unleash a gigantic energy blast that went on to overtake Poutine completely was when Raijin then went on to quickly continue, "And while I sit at the head of the table as the one true God King and ruler of all life throughout the entire multiverse as it is, I will go as far as to ensure you all that no matter your race, even if you just so happen to be one of my own kind, to which those who refuse to bow will be eliminated from this world. For it's a shame that you had to go and turn your backs to me in place of worshipping your false idol in Mechikabura," Raijin continues, "but alas, your blood will continue to be spilled until there is nothing more that remains within your bodies," as a terrified Gravy went on to then respond,
Damn, he's brutal.
"What has he done? He completely destroyed Poutine without even breaking a sweat. But how? How was it that he was able to go and do that with such ease?
Damn.
Power just now, as Poutine was right, for there appears to be something that is far more to this monster than even we went as far as to realize," as Raijin then went on to further turn his attention back towards Salza by then quickly responding, "And now back to you, as while you were the first to go and take charge in directly going against my order and having to go and attack me first, allow for this moment to go and sink in and let my eyes be the last thing that you will ever come to see, traitorous demon scum." To which it was only seconds within that very moment as Raijin was then shown having to unleash energy beams from his eyes and having to penetrate Salsa right through the head was when Raijin then went on to quickly continue, "And then there was one, and with these two wretched traitors out of my way, all this now leaves us here is with you. For I hope that you are ready to experience pain the likes of which you have never experienced in your days before," Raijin says. "And so unless you decide to go and bend the knee to me here and now, then you're next," as Gravy went on to then quickly respond, "How? How dare you, as you will go on to pay with your life one way or another, and so even if this means that I will need to go and give everything that I have in order to ensure that you pay for snuffing the life out of poutine and salsa, then I vow to go and stake my own existence in having to do what is needed in order to destroy you for good. And so now this here is for my fellow demon warriors who were ambushed by your hatred towards your own kind, as I hope that you go and suffer just as much as you had made them suffer with this one, Raijin. And so now disappear within the voids. But then, it was only casually enough with Raijin shown having to literally blow away Gravy's attack right back towards him was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, "Oh please, spare me the efforts of such ridiculous attempts in trying to be what you hope results in my destruction, since I can already guarantee you here and now that such ridiculously feeble attacks such as this will not be what will end within your favor, demon." But it was only just as Gravy went as far as to catch his own attack before having to launch a brand new one from his other arm was when Gravy went on to then quickly respond, "For you may appear as though you hold the upper hand here against me for the time being, but one thing about us demons that I want you to go and know is that we will gladly go into our graves if it means upholding our loyalty to the master in which we turn out to serve under, Raijin.
Oh,
as
shit.
I will not go on to cease my attacks against you until I know for a certainty that you are no longer breathing, and so now whether you are the first and original god of our race of demons or not, turning against your own kind is an irredeemable act that is only punishable by destruction. And so now while your very existence is a mistake that needs to be corrected," Gravy continues, "let this go and be what does the job in becoming the cause to that very correction in having you pay for what you did to my friends, demon." To which it was only seconds after, with a gigantic explosion then being shown having to take place, was when Gravy then went on to quickly continue, "Oh, there we go now. Serves you right for doing what you just did and having you snuff Salsa and Poutine's life just now. And so there is no physical way that you could have survived this without sustaining at least a bit of damage along the way," Gravy continues. "And so that should have done the trick if it didn't at least go as far as to damage that creature directly, but is it possible that he may have found a way out in having to survive unscathed?" Gravy went on to then further question, "because if he did, then I will have no other choice than to go and call for Lord Mechikabura and having to help deal with such an abomination. But wait, no, but how? It can't be, but he was just right here, and so now where did he go?" Gravy went on to then further question, "and moreover is how was that creature able to go and outmaneuver his way in bypassing both of my attacks like this?
Yeah, he
and
built
only
different,
having
bruh.
to further do so without having to go and leave a trace of him left behind within the process. As surely I didn't go and miss now, did I? Because I know what I saw, and I know that I saw him go and take those blasts head on without him being shown having to move, and so just where did he go?" But then it was only just then from out of nowhere now behind Gravy, as Raijin went on to then slowly lean on down by having to go as far as to whisper within Gravy's ear, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, "You should have been far more careful with how you decided to go about this situation with me, demon, because while you should have known better than to go and try and attack me the way you all just did, for now it's going to be your turn to go and join your fellow servants within the grave." As Raijin meant serious business, because it was only surprisingly enough from out of nowhere within this very moment, as Raijin went on to impale Gravy from behind and having to sever him right through the heart, was when
Damn,
Raijin
he
then
killed
went on
all
to
them
quickly
brutally.
continue. "Then since you had went and have decided to go and continue to stand in opposing me when you should have been smart enough to go and relinquish such desires in wanting to go and stand across for me, this is what you will go and get for ever daring to stand against my law, demon. Yes, for I can feel your heart struggling to keep its beat against my hand," Raijin continues, "as you were never anything more than a mindless hound leashed to a master who doesn't care whether you live or die, and yet you stood before before me with such conviction and such a desperate and deluded belief that you could actually win. Well, did you, Raijin questions? For your loyalty to Mechikabura was your first mistake, as your belief that you were anything more than a disposable pawn was your second, with your third mistake being in thinking that even for a second that either one of you who stood in opposing me would have any sort of chance in actually being able to defeat me. As this is what happens to those who dare and refuse to go and bend the knee, Demon Raijin continues upon being shown pulling his arm away. And so do you think that Mechikabura will mourn for you? Do you think that he will even remember you, Raijin questions? For it was as I had said, and as you were nothing more but a tool, and now you will go on and be forgotten, as not a trace of you will be left behind for anyone to even remember, Demon. But if you thought that this was going to be all that I would go on and do onto you for daring to challenge me, Raijin continues, then allow for me to go and leave you off with this, as I will hereby go and use you in setting the example from here on moving forward, and further letting this serve as a reminder towards all those who wish to stand against me, that no matter what you claim for your descent to be, whether you are a god, a mortal, or even a demon alike, if you go and stand in the way of having me fulfill my destiny, then you will be torn apart within the process of challenging my authority. To which it was only seconds later within that very moment, as Raijin had gone as far as to now be shown leaning on down and grabbing onto and picking up Gravy's heart, was when Raijin then went on to continue, as you should have went and thought twice about your actions before you had decided to go and turn your backs on the throne the way you all did, and now look. And while I would go and ask you if this was all worth it, but you and I would both already know the answers to such questions anyways, for you should have went and known that this was going to go and happen, but since none of you were ready for what someone like myself was going to bring onto the battlefield upon having to go and engage against me, this was what you demons get for daring to defy my law and expect to go and live to talk about it, Raijin continues. But since the three of you are now finally out of my way, I can now go about my business in having to go and do on what it is that is needed, and especially now since there is no one who is left that will go and stand in the way of having me go and speak with Mechikabura in regards to the cubes that I seek. But before I go and do so, your beating hearts will be sacrificed within my name for me to go and devour, for I will not go on to stand to have anyone oppose my destiny, even if they just so happens to be demons as well, Raijin says. For these three demons would have served as being great additions to my army of warriors, but they instead had went and decided to stand against me in the name of standing loyal to Mechikabura, which
do you blame them? That's they dog.
If it meant in having to use them all in setting the examples in moving forward. But then it was only just seconds later, as Raijin was shown having to chew upon Gravy's heart as Mechikabura went as far as to make his presence known, was when Mechikabura went on to then respond, "What is all of this noise that I hear which is taking place out here, demons? What is the meaning behind why my palace is shaking? And why do I sense more than just your powers being present within my domain?
Answer me,
demons, as I will not go and ask you all again," as Raijin went on to then turn his head by responding, but of course, and right on time you are, Mechikabura, for you and I have a great many things to discuss." As Mechikabura went on to then continue, "Do I make myself clear enough for all of you to go and hear what it is that I am asking of you, or what? Gravy, salsa, poutine, answer me right now. What is the meaning behind all of this, and why is it that I am able to sense the presence of someone else who is there alongside with you? Because I never went and gave any of you the orders in having to bring uninvited guests before my kingdom without having to first inform me of such things. And so now why are none of you answering me, demons? For I demand for you all to go and do so right this moment or else." With Raijin responding, "And so you have finally decided to go and reveal yourself yourself to me after having to lose all 3 of your own as a measure of their loyalty and having to perish in your name. How very typical of what it was that I have heard about you, but needless to say, you and I have much to discuss while I'm here, as you can make no mistake about the fact and rest assured that by the time our meeting here reaches its end, Raijin continues, and I will lay claim over that configuration cube one way or another, even if it means that I will need to go right through you in order for me to have it, demon. As it was only right then and there now, during that moment, where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Dark Masters, the official Murno sequel, manga chapter number 31 special.
That was okay. That was an alright chapter. You know what I'm saying? I need, you know, I'm trying to watch this shit, but I need. If we gonna have, I need some action. And even though there was action in this one, look, I'm watching the Dragon Ball story. Nigga. I'm trying to see Dragon Ball characters. That's just me personally. You know what I'm saying? I know he's trying to set the story up, so I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that. That's why it's cool, right? I get it. But shit, I'm ready. Where go? Shit, it's been a couple of chapters. Now I'm trying to see Goku and them again. Nigga, where they at? You know what I'm saying? But it's alright. Shout out to UnrealEntGaming for this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the last chapter right here. Check out the video. You might like it right here. And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.